had in his career with over 800 carries was 38-yarder. He's not going to bust one on you. Rico Dowdle can certainly bust a 60-yarder on you. So that's been the difference, but it's a great 1-2 punch.
Schlereth explained that Carolina's entire identity is based on being physical and running the football. He said the key in this matchup is for the Saints defense to slow down those two running backs and force Carolina QB Bryce Young to beat them. Kickoff between the Saints and Panthers is today at 3:25 p.m., and the countdown to kickoff featuring Bobby Hebert and Steve Geller starts at 1 o'clock right here on the home of the Saints, WWL. Hopping to basketball, tonight the Pelicans hit the road for a matchup against the Chicago Bulls. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. on the Big 870 WWL. Charlie Long, WWL Sports.
Our cold front is here today. It's going to be very chilly and windy all day with decreasing clouds. Temperatures will be in the 50s this afternoon, 40s tonight, but feeling colder because of the strong winds. Monday is going to be bitter cold and frigid. Monday morning, temperatures will be in the low 30s on the South Shore and low 20s on the North Shore, so make sure you bundle up and keep warm. It's going to be really cold all day Monday. Temperatures in the afternoon Monday only in the 40s, but we'll have sunshine. We'll stay chilly through Tuesday, but expect a warm up the rest of the week starting Wednesday. From WWL Louisiana, I'm meteorologist Alexa Trischler.
And I'm Dave Cohen, WWL First News. From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Seamson Law Firm and the Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Hart Jewelers talk and text line 504-260-1870 or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, live from our Gulf Coast Bank and Trust Company studios, the bank that cares about you, here's Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Just call 260-1870 or text us at the Oakland Hart Talk and Text line. Good morning, Albert.
Hey, Doug, what's going on, man?
Christmas, and went through a little withdrawals of college football yesterday, but doing okay. And actually, I'm looking forward to probably the first, I could say this for the first time in a couple of years, looking forward to watching the Saints game with anticipation. I always love to watch them, but with anticipation. Against Carolina at 3:25. That's why we're on. When the Saints aren't playing at noon, we're on. And so looking forward to, I think with the Saints, the descent has stopped. In other words, it's like you're going down a hole and you hit the bottom. Now you're looking up and you're seeing a little bit of ray of sunlight where you got a little bit of optimism, where you feel like maybe we're going to start an ascent upward.
Yeah. I tell you, I think a lot of it has to do with the rise of the wide receiver Valet. He's 6'4", 6'5". This is a kid that I don't know why they haven't tried to utilize his skills. And we talked about this on the last program. Actually, you are not on that program, but I was watching. Actually listening to WWL, and they interviewed Drew Brees, and the question was, why can't we score in the red zone? What's the problem? We get down there, and it just always seems to be a problem. And Drew was being very, politically correct, saying, the field shrinks, and a 3-yard run is a good run in the red zone, and on and on and on. Well, then he finally said, I think what the truth was. He said, you know what? I had weapons down there. I had, Marcus Colston. I had Jimmy Graham. I had guys where I could throw the ball and only they would catch it. It would be incomplete or a touchdown. And we didn't have that. We didn't have it with Olave. We didn't have it with any of the other receivers. They were Brandon Cooks. A fast receiver is not going to do you a whole lot of good in the end zone when you're in the red zone. Right. And you need a guy that you can get the ball to. And this Valet kid is a stud. We talked about that a little earlier too. I think with this what's his name, Trudez from LSU, the wide receiver. Now he's only going to be a junior next year, But this kid's 6'7". He's a basketball player. He knows how to box out and use his body. I'm not a big fan of picking a wide receiver in the first round, but if you can get a game changer like that, then you absolutely need to do it. How many touchdowns did Jimmy Graham have just because he was bigger and stronger? The defensive back could be in your back pocket, but if the ball's thrown properly, Jimmy Graham wins every time. And I think we finally started utilizing him. I think he had 6 or 7 catches last week, and it just made a huge difference. And one thing you always say, Doug, the difference between making a Super Bowl or getting to the playoffs and not is usually 4 or 5 plays a year. And I mean, if you can go back and look at some of the games, Olave 2 weeks ago catches the pass that goes right through his hands in the end zone.
Right.
We win, right? We don't throw the pick for the touchdown on the extra point. We take the ball down the field and kick the field goal in the end and win. That's just one game. 2 plays made the difference. Early in the season, if what's his name? Johnson catches the ball in the end zone on the last play of the game, we at least tie the game, right? So we are one play away from so many chances of being right in the thick of things.
Well, if we would have won, not to say we're not ready, and we shouldn't even say the P word.
No.
But what I'm saying is this.
Win those couple of games.
Right, but what I'm saying is the ironic part was if they make those 2 plays, we're still in the playoff hunt in a division that is not very good.
I agree. I mean, well, you look at the year Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl. What was the running back? The Alabama running back we had. I'm trying to think of his name.
Mark Ingram.
Ingram. Mark Ingram. We're running the clock out. He runs out of bounds before the first down marker.
Yeah.
If he gets the first down, or if he just stays in bounds, they got to use their timeout, or we just run the clock out.
Yeah.
We win the game, and we go to the playoffs. They don't. Yeah. The Panthers win the Super. I mean, the
right.
Buccaneers win the Super Bowl that
right.
year. You know what I'm saying? Everything. You're one play away from so many good things happening, and we've just been on the wrong side of it this year.
Yeah. And I think it appears, based on the limited sample size, that Tyler Shuck has that 4th dimension, or he potentially could have that 4th dimension. I don't want to put a gold jacket on him yet and have him, inducted into this Hall of Fame and Kenny Trahan's Saints Hall of Fame, but he seems to possibly have that 4th dimension that you need for a quarterback. Meaning, if you looked at the statistics last week, you'd be, it's okay. But you look at the plays he made, when he made them, you're like, that's a quarterback there. And so he seems to have, now part of it, he's 26. He's got a lot of maturity. I think when we watch Spencer Rattler, who's going to be probably a good backup for 3 to 5, 10 years in the NFL, he just didn't have that confidence factor. In other words, even if Spencer was bringing you back and you were 6 points down, you didn't have confidence that he was going to take you, from the 20-yard line into the end zone to go ahead. You just didn't. And it could be youth. It could be probably inexperience. But there's something about him, the way you're like, he's okay. But Shuck, you have a different feeling about him. And I think what the Saints are going to evaluate the next 3 or 4 days, because they had Mendoza won the Heisman Trophy. I don't think the Saints will be able to be picking that high, and I don't think they'll probably win a couple of games, and they won't be picking in the top 2 or 3. So they may not have the choice to get the quarterbacks, but I think there might be trending to say, let's get him some playmakers, wide receiver, another running back to accent. We're okay with quarterback. We're going to go with him, and he's our guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's positive, and that's what you need. What is the Kansas City Chiefs without Mahomes? What is the Cincinnati Bengals without Burrow? What is the Buffalo Bills without Josh Smith? They're just an average team. So if there's one position that you can solidify and go from a 5-12 team to a 9-8 team, or a 7-10 team to a 11-5 team, 6 team, is quarterback. They can win you 3 or 4 games in the NFL if you have a good one. So, well, that's positive. And today I'm actually got you get that little, hey, I can't. It's 3:00, it's an hour away, 2 hours away. You have that feeling because you want to see, are we going to take that momentum into the year? And if we do, at the end of the year, and if we do, the off season is going to be hopeful rather than trying to survive.
Right.
So we're
No, I agree, and I just let me tell you though, I think Tyler Shuck is a better quarterback. I think what they did was they started Rattler because hey, you're here, we're gonna get you started, give you an opportunity, and I think he played well enough. There were I forget what game we went to. It might have been the Denver game where he threw passes to Olave, and they just took it out of his hands for an interception. I mean, guys need to make plays for your quarterback. You've got to have people around you that are going to help you make those plays. And all of a sudden, the stat sheet, oh well, yeah, he had 2 or 3 interceptions, but 2 of them weren't his fault. I mean, it was like the route last week with Tyler Shuck when he threw that long pass and nobody was there for the interception, right? Obviously, the out and up route, didn't happen. Somebody made the mistake, and he's not going to get on TV and throw anybody under the bus. But that was the call. And of course, the quarterback stat sheet looked bad. I will tell you this: one thing I think we need to evaluate, like we said, another couple of weeks. But he was throwing a wet football, and so and so was Tampa's quarterback, right? He was throwing a wet football, and in the first half, Chuck threw the ball behind people. He was throwing it low. It was just I don't know if he adjusted well. In fact, here I sent a little text to some friends like, oh, man, this is looking bad. And in the second half, things turned around for him, I guess. I don't know if the rain stopped or whatever. If that was the issue.
He just got acclimated.
Or he just stepped up.
Got acclimated.
So we'll see what happens in the Dome and at a home game and a division rivalry. So, it should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. All right, let's take a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you Weekend Lawyers, All Things Legal. We'll be right back on WWL AM, FM, Odyssey.com. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
He knows if you've been bad or good, you better be good for goodness sake.
Saints fans, get ready for Drew and Bobby. Bobby and Drew. QB to QB. Wednesdays on WWL. Check in with Bobby Hebert and Drew Brees. 4:30 every Wednesday as they break down the last Saints game and preview the next matchup. Don't miss QB to QB, the ultimate Saints conversation with the first quarterback to take the black and gold to the playoffs and the NFL legend who led the Saints to a Super Bowl win. Drew Brees and Bobby Hebert. Wednesdays at 4:30 on WWL.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hi, this is Sam Moody with GoTax Resolution. Imagine if you could see the IRS's next move before they make it. Introducing the IRS Transcript Monitoring Service from GoTax Resolution, your personal radar for tax trouble. Using state-of-the-art software enhanced with AI, we monitor IRS activity on your account 24/7. It's like credit monitoring on steroids, but for your taxes. Let GoTax Resolution alert you to changes, actions, and potential threats, so you can stay protected, stay ahead, and stay in control. Whether it's a pending audit, a collection notice, or a new penalty, you'll know before it hits. With proactive alerts, expert analysis, and former IRS agents on your side. Know what's coming, be ready, be protected. To activate your IRS transcript monitoring, please call GoTax Resolution at 985-722-1040 or visit GoTaxResolution.com. That's GEAUX, taxresolution.com.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Fontes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Come celebrate the season with holidays at Audubon. Start a new tradition with festive fun at Audubon Aquarium and Audubon Zoo. Get tickets for both at audubonholidays.com. Now through January 4th.
Poydras Home offers retirement living in the heart of Uptown. Nursing and memory care assisted living, including respite, with our last new construction home available for move-in now. Visit PoydrasHome.com.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Hey, Bills Happen! So when you need extra cash fast, go to BillsHappen.com. Have you been turned down? Are your credit cards maxed out? Do you have bad credit? Go to BillsHappen.com. You could find a lender and get up to $5,000 cash as early as tomorrow. BillsHappen.com is safe, secure, and all online. Just remember, when you need cash, go to BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com for the cash you need now. BillsHappen.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Back to all things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Stream WWL and the shows you love on Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Or join us on the Oakland Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, all things legal. Kudos to Tulane, who they're in the playoffs, man. Can you believe it?
Yep.
You know, and it's Coach Summerall is going to be coaching the game, Summerall, and you know, if you're going to play somebody in the first round, you want to play a team that doesn't have its head coach, and which is Tulane against the no-lane Ole Miss Rebels, and
right.
I'm not saying. I'd say before, if Lane Kiffin was coaching, I'd put about percentages 5%. But now I think they're edging up to about 10 to 15% chance of pulling an upset because you don't know how Ole Miss is going to react without having Coach Kiffin. You just don't. I mean, they could react one way. I mean, there's this level of uncertainty, and there's a little bit of a vulnerability there. I think Ole Miss is beatable. And also, I think Tulane could go out there and play loose. You know, I mean, they're playing with the dealer's money, and what a great job that Coach Summerall has done. And I was sort of my personal preference was to have Coach Summerall as LSU's coach. That's just, I mean, for us, a Sunday morning lawyer who gets on the radio and spouts a bunch of nonsense. That was my opinion, because I felt like Summerall was more of a stable choice. If he was a stock or a financial instrument, he would be a guy who would bring back about an 8 or 9% interest every year. Lane will be like an AI stock. He could be like a 36% return per year, or he could be zero. There's a lot more uncertainty. And
I think though, I was of the opinion that the coach, you want a good coach that can handle players, that can get the best out of players. But why would you pay $13 million for a year for Lane Kiffin when you can get Summerall for maybe 6, right? 7,
right,
and pay your players the other 7? If I'm a kid and I'm 18 years old, I'm probably, never had a whole lot of money in my whole life. And somebody, and LSU wants to offer me $200,000 to come play for them. And, Ole Miss wants to offer me $300,000. I'm going to Ole Miss. I don't care who the coach is. I'm not going to play for Lane Kiffin. I'm going to play whoever's going to pay me the most money, for the most part. Right? I mean, I want to be on TV. I want to be in the SEC. I want to be part of a team. I want to start, all those kinds of things. But why are we paying somebody that kind of money when you could pay a great coach, a very good coach, up and coming coach less, and still, and then pay your players the difference? I mean, because that's what it's going to be about. Look at Texas Tech, out of nowhere, right?
I went blank.
Timing back to where it's after the playoffs are over.
Mm-hmm.
That way you don't have coaches and players and everybody else that have to make moves before. It's not good for the game that your coach is in the playoffs. It's not a bowl game. It's the playoffs, and he leaves, and you're stuck without a coach.
I think that's going to probably be addressed. That's probably going to be addressed real soon. I'd guess they would probably have a dead period until the playoffs are over regarding. I don't know. They're just going to have to address that. But we just wish all the luck to Tulane, and just I have to throw in a little plug. We doing NIL for Kevin Mamahat. So he's got a nice offer on Facebook for knee deep hot sauce. So if you see Kevin Mamahat's offer, you put in Garrett number 16, you get a little break and be a nice Christmas gift. But we went through the first round of revenue share. Cameron Wyndham, attorney in our firm, we did contract with a West Coast team, and very interesting. It was much like NFL free agency as far as negotiating the contract, because you have total free agency. And I was sort of interested to see that the teams were like feeling their way through the process also. I mean, it was very how can I say, reactive, and they're figuring out how to do this. As far as how to negotiate with the players, because a lot of times what was happening, like with the kid from LSU, is no more signing one piece of paper in your a grant aid. Is that
Right.
there's a lot of negotiation going on in the morning before they sign. And so some of them were having their signing ceremonies before they had the contract signed, and then it was just a free for all. And I
Yeah.
think there's going to in the future they're going to probably have to get some uniformity to this, because it was sort of a free for all. And
Well, I think a lot of it's just going to develop organically.
right, that's what I was saying. It was the
It's
first
like,
time.
oh, gee whiz, they did this. This worked for them. This didn't work for us. This worked for us. Let's keep doing it.
Because
I don't know that there's going to be any real
like when I was
formal.
right. Well, like when I was doing the NFL contracts, I knew what incentives the teams would consider and which wouldn't, because you had a history with them, and you knew, oh, they'll do this incentive, they won't do this incentive, or the kind of things. Here, we had no idea as to what they were looking back at. So when we submitted our term sheet for incentives, you have your base. You have three components. You have your rev share, which they pay out. Then you have your grant aid, which is your scholarship money, which is standard. And then you have your incentives. And so we didn't really know what incentives they would consider and would. Now, one of the incentives they did consider, which we thought was great, was incentives based on GPA. And
that is great.
And when we talked to the general manager, we're like, when we brought it up, I said, well, let's do some incentives for GPA. He goes, gee, I never even thought about that. And it was an easy sale, because you're like, look, you want to have kids. I mean, if 3.5, 3.0, if you have a football player, that's good reflection on your football team, beyond the field. And they said, sure, we'll do it. So,
right. Well, plus, you're getting to a certain point. He can probably qualify for an academic scholarship, and it saves you another scholarship somewhere else, right?
Yeah. So it was sort of interesting, but it was, how can I say, they were just feeling their way through it. And I think the second go around, I think the colleges and the teams will know, okay, this is what we have to do, and sort of maybe to bring a little bit more, I guess, organization to the process. But it was great. They didn't even have that contract ready, because they didn't know what standard language they wanted to put in there. And so we were pulling out our NFL contracts from 30 years ago and sending language over there, saying, this is some standard language you could put in there that would be fair to both parties. So it was just an interesting process, and it was it's almost like the NFL. In fact, I was commenting to Cameron, our contracts that we signed with the players were more than the free agent contracts I used to sign in the 90s. So that tells you.
Oh, you can bet.
You could.
Oh, yeah.
That tells you where you're going. Also, real quick, another plug. Greg Brooks, one of our clients, who was the LSU football player who had the brain tumor in 2023, is making this phenomenal recovery. It's been nationally documented. He got married yesterday, so we want to wish him and Kirsten, his wife, wonderful life. Oh, what a wonderful young lady she is. She's just taking wonderful care of him. And Greg is an inspiration for all. He's doing. I mean, he's got some challenges in the future, but he is doing fantastic. And we're looking forward to working with him. And just a fantastic kid. Just totally inspirational. And I'm hoping. And I told him, I said, when you get fully recovered, which are maximum medical improvement, we're going to get you back in football, as in some form of capacity, as a scout, breaking down film or something like that. So good. So we want to do that. Also, I want to throw this to you before we stop the sports segment. Pelicans and Zion. What is do you have any opinions as to?
Well, it's too late, right? So here we were he missed a couple of games in the beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden he was back and he was healthy and he was playing. And it's time to strike while the iron was hot and trade him
and move him.
Now all of a sudden, he's Anthony Davis all over again. You can call him street clothes because he never wears his uniform. He's always in street clothes. And he's constantly injured. I think one of the mistakes that the Pelicans front office made, one of the many, is they knew they had a ton of money invested in him, and this was their franchise and this was their future. And so they treated him like, with these kid gloves, saying that, hey, look, we're not going to play him. We won't play him a back-to-back. We won't, so it soured the fans on him. And then, when you're 22, 23 years old, whatever he is, you start getting that in your brain that, gee whiz, maybe I will get hurt. And let me tell you, I've just playing sports really all my life and still playing it. When you have an injury and you come back from an injury, you're healthy, you're fine at some point, but mentally and psychologically, you still have that thing going on in your head, that little bit of nervousness and paranoia that, gee whiz, I may re-injure this and be out again and have to go through redo all these things again. So I'm gonna not necessarily explode and try to, and at some point you get past that. But if your handlers and your team doctor and your organization keeps telling you, hey, look, we're going to play you. We don't want you to get hurt. We're going to let you come back gradually and all these kinds of things. I got to think that's got to affect you psychologically even more than just, hey, how do you feel? Are you ready? Anyway,
I think
regardless, it's time.
I think in hindsight, and I know this is my firsthand interaction with the situation, if you looked at it, you'd say you cannot build this franchise around this young man. You just can't. He just doesn't have the mental maturity, acuity, and the foundational background of character to invest $200 million in. And what shrewd general managers do is pick up on that quick and get rid of him before everybody else picks up on it. Now, I don't think you had to be a psychiatrist, a psychologist to know 5 years ago this was the likely outcome. And I think the key is to when you get like a commodity like that and it's going to go bad, get rid of it when it's at its highest market value. And I don't think they had the guts to do that. I mean, that's what the difference between general managers that win championships and general managers that are now unemployed. And I'm not saying it's a tough choice, and I'm just telling you that's what needed to be done. It was obvious to a lot of people who were more detached from the situation, but he was just not a person you're going to build your franchise just on so many different levels. He could be a support player. You pay him accordingly, maybe so. He could hang around the NBA, but to me, he's got a Ben Simmons mental toughness, and now the commodity.
He's not an alpha dog.
Well, he's
not the guy you're going to build your team around.
And he's not even close. And it's just I think what the teams are going to start doing before they invested. In fact, Dallas Mavericks did that before investing in Luka. They just made a call in part saying we're not going to invest $300 million because he doesn't have the mental stability we want to invest $300 million into. And I think what you have to do is I think teams are going to start doing that because the franchise. I mean, the Pelicans franchise was probably sold for $200 million a couple of years ago to Mr. Benson, 200 and something million. And you're going to invest $300 million in this person who's unstable or doesn't have the foundational stability to be a cornerstone to your franchise. You're not going to do it. So here it is. The sooner we get rid of them, the better, and we can start all over again. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
All things legal on WWL. Live from our Gulf Coast Bank and Trust Company studios, the bank that cares about you. Listen to our time-shifted podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
When's the last time you cleaned your air conditioning system and air ducts? If you're like most people, never. If you could see what's probably in there, layers of dust, mold, dead bugs, even rodent droppings, you'd be disgusted. Breathing that in every day, even while you eat and sleep, can make you feel tired and run down while blaming it on allergies. Gulf State Services Group can clean your entire system, usually in one day, letting you feel better, breathe cleaner, and live healthier. Visit GulfStateServicesLLC.com and schedule a free system consultation. Gulf State Services LLC.
Why wait for January to start feeling better? With Game Day Men's Health, reset your energy, mood, and confidence now and roll into the new year already feeling incredible. Testosterone replacement therapy helps men reclaim the strength and motivation they've been missing. Extra tired, stressed, or running low? It might not be just the holidays. It could be low T. So bring back that spark that you and your partner miss. Visit Game Day Men's Health today and feel the upgrade on the North Shore and South Shore.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Newell here with a holiday shopping tip. You've heard me talk about Vaca Steakhouse, a true fine dining steakhouse experience in Metairie. Now through Christmas, when you buy a $100 Vaca gift card, you'll get an extra $20 gift card. Vaca's gift to you. For family, friends, or clients, a Vaca gift card is a gift they'll savor and remember. Stop by and see them on Severn or give them a call. Remember, every $100 gets you an extra $20. Vaca Steakhouse on Severn in Metairie.
Worked all your life and built an estate to leave to your loved ones. And now it's time to prepare an estate plan, so where do you turn? The last thing you should do is go to some online will and trust service for a cookie cutter document. You need to meet with an experienced Louisiana estate planning attorney to share your intentions, ask questions, and obtain advice. This is Albert Nicaud of the Nicaud & Simpson Law Firm in Metairie. I've been providing clients with estate planning advice and preparing wills and trusts for over 35 years. When you're ready to plan your estate, call me at 504-837-1304.
Poydras Home offers retirement living in the heart of Uptown. Nursing and memory care assisted living, including respite, with our last new construction home available.
Let me double check.
PoydrasHome.com.
Customizing strategies to help you navigate to and through retirement with the help of John Scallon and the team at Cypress Financial. Join us for the Retirement Roundtable every Saturday at 8 a.m. right here on WWL and get more at cypressfinancial.net.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
The only one we've gotten today was somebody asking if y'all think Alvin Kamara's done.
Oh, God.
Quality
All right.
rechargeable hearing aids. Clear.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
He's cooked.
He's cooked.
And here's a study worth hearing. Research
Running
shows
backs.
hearing aids.
It's been over with him for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas
That's
holiday
why you
deals before they're
got cut
gone
bait
at
before they,
audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
It's all things legal on
All right, here we go.
live on the Odyssey, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio apps. To consult with Doug Sunseri or Albert Nicaud, call their office at 504-837-1304 or connect now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, Weekend Lawyers. Want to talk about a little bit today, not so much about a specific subject matter like we normally do. Talk estates or wills or family law or construction law, business law, go up and down the line. But today I just want to talk a little bit about having a lawyer. And, a lawyer is like a relationship in your life. It's like you have a relationship with your spouse, you have a relationship with your kids. It's a relationship in the sense that you have to feel comfortable with that interacting with that particular person. And a lot of times people choose their lawyers not because they're a good lawyer or a bad lawyer. Their interaction, they feel more comfortable with interacting with a certain personality or not, or someone who has a certain way with them. But I was reading on Facebook, I got a inquiry saying, I'm looking for a bulldog lawyer who will make my spouse miserable and tear her apart. And, it's sort of like, I guess, if you watch TV or something, you'll have a conception of, oh, that's the kind of lawyer I need. But, I sort of clicked on delete because I'm like, if that's the expectation, you're going to have a problem in this process. And, a lot of times to me, if I'm picking a lawyer, I want someone who's strategic, who can identify leverage, use it appropriately, decide when to hold them, decide when to fold them, and to provide good information for me to make a good decision. But, to say they have the, quote, bulldog lawyer who's just obstinate about everything, that often makes things worse for all parties. And I just wanted to explain, from your perspective, what should a person be looking for when they're trying to pick a lawyer?
Well, just to kind of reiterate what you just said, after doing this close to 40 years, that's just a bad idea. I had a couple hire me in a claim, and I don't want to get into it too deeply in terms of what it was, but they wanted this scorched earth kind of lawsuit, right? And I told them, I said, I don't. That's not always a good idea. Your damages are what your damages are, right? And so you want to prove this, and you want to prove that, and you want to file suit, and you have all these conspiracy theories about, the defendants and all this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, what is it worth to you? You're going to be spending almost more money, right, with me in litigating it and prosecuting your lawsuit than you'll ever be able to recover, because now all of a sudden, you're working the file sideways and you're trying to prove all of these issues that really don't make a difference, and I'm sure it's the same type of thing in the family law environment, right? I mean, you guys deal with, he cheated on me, or she ran off with my best friend, and I want to nail her for that and all this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, this is what your community property's worth. This is what this is what your child support's going to be. It's statutory. This is, it's like, so why are we going to spend this money? And I just had someone very close to me, I've tried to give her advice about, this particular lawyer. Not that I knew this lawyer, but I just I listened to the conversation and I advised against hiring this lawyer. First of all, because of the billing practices and et cetera. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it was one of those where they played into this person's feelings and emotion. Right?
Exactly
and
right.
Said, okay,
exactly right.
Yeah, we're going to do this, and we're going to, we'll show that guy, we'll show the et cetera. And, as lawyers, I know you and I, because we've talked about this over the last 18 years on the show, and even before that, our job is to really take the emotion out of it, right? And try to get the client to take the emotion out of it. And if it's a business situation, hey, this is a business deal. I know this person messed you over and did this, did that, but this is what it's going to cost. Let's kind of take the emotion out of it and look at this, realistically, because we want to set this expectation and make you at least somewhat happy at the end of the day. Or, whereas if you try to go all of these different directions, you're never going to finish up.
Well, and we want to introduce this I guess, this subject matter this hour. So we're going to talk about it pretty much the whole next hour. But I think there's a lot of things as far as having expectations as to what your lawyer can and cannot do, and what are you looking for in a lawyer. I know when I used to have to hire lawyers working for, when I was working for a corporation, I wanted the lawyer who got me from point A to point B. I didn't want to get involved in all the other ancillary stuff. And so we're going to talk about how do you evaluate a lawyer and get you on point A to point B versus, as Albert says, they tap into your emotions and sort of get you going sideways. And, conflict is the economic driver of lawyers. That's what pays our bills. And so if you have unnecessary conflict, you're paying unnecessary money to lawyers for accomplishing very little. So we're going to take a break. We'll probably come back with a very short break, go to news, and then we're going to talk about it for the next hour. And I think it'll be very helpful, people, in evaluating on how to use a lawyer and what they're for, and how to feel comfortable with them. So let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Get the WWL shows you love delivered to
Andrew, we're going to have about a minute or two.
Yeah,
that's good. That's fine. That's fine because we just I'd rather
how you want or
take
tell your
this
smart
one long,
speaker play WWL
and then get in and out. We're going to sort of get into our subject for the
WWL is
next
proudly
hour.
sponsored.
That sounds good. I've got this guy on the line who his name's Greg, and he called in saying, "Hey, can I do a PSA? There's a Catholic high school that's doing a food drive somewhere on the North Shore, something like that."
If you get his information, I'll do it.
For appropriate, see website for details, restrictions, and
If he wants to give you the information, I'll give a shout out.
To Delafield for better bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, just tell him where it is and ask him where it is and who it is.
Got what you need to
tell him. I'll be glad to do it.
Yeah, because what he was talking about was like he wanted to get on as a caller and do it himself, and I didn't know if you were comfortable with that.
Just tell him we're going
choose,
into.
and
Tell him
more.
we don't have anything left this
100%
hour.
online. No office visits,
And so,
no pharmacy
just
lines.
tell them to give you
Just fill out a
information,
simple intake form,
when,
and a licensed
where,
medical
who
provider
it's
will
for,
determine if
and,
treatment's
what
right for
time.
you.
I'll,
If
be glad
prescribed,
to
it
do
ships free at
Okay, thanks.
your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Fontes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-906-1788. 800-906-1788. 800-906-1788.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Poydras Home offers retirement living in the heart of Uptown. Nursing and memory care assisted living, including respite, with our last new construction home available for move-in now. Visit PoydrasHome.com.
Get 6 months of Rev Business Service free, plus a price lock. Some restrictions apply.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio.
All right, we got the info.
Good. Okay. How much time do we have?
I'm
on
Ed
this
Evans,
break?
CEO of Consumer Center.
We'll have about like 45
Okay.
seconds to a
Okay.
minute.
We'll do it on the top of the hour.
Big Wireless
next hour.
probably has you paying for
Okay.
you might need. You could be throwing away.
All right. Well, if you want to do it, at the top of next hour.
Oh,
then
you
I'll
think
go
I ought
ahead-
to do it now? You think I have enough time to do it now?
Switch and get your.
Well, we got 10 seconds left in break, so.
Do you want to read it out?
No, we'll do it at the top of
Okay.
next hour.
Okay.
Plans
Gotcha.
include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Back to attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri on WWL. Stream all things legal and our time-shifted podcasts on Odyssey, TuneIn, and now on the iHeartRadio app. Or connect now on the Aucoin Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. We're going to go to national news and local news, and then we'll continue with our discussion about, expectations, how to pick a lawyer, expectations for a lawyer. What do you want them to do? What do you want to pay for them to do? What you don't want to pay for them not to do also. And also, it's just basically a relationship that you got to feel comfortable with, and, I'm saying comfortable, that he'll shoot straight to you and give you the information you need. So we'll be back for hour number 2 on all things legal. Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. So we'll see you in about 8 minutes. Stay tuned for national news, local news, and we'll be back then for hour number 2. So we'll see you then.
Home of the Saints, LSU, and Pelicans. 870 AM WWL New Orleans, 105.3 WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans, and Odyssey Station.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Vicki Barker. After a person of interest is detained over yesterday's deadly shootings at Brown University.
We have a lot of recovery ahead of us. So my main goal in the coming days and weeks and months, it will take a long time, is to bring people back together and help them feel safe and secure on campus.
Christina Paxson, president of Brown University. 2 people died, 9 were wounded in the shootings inside the engineering building at Brown while exams were underway. CBS has learned the person being detained is 24, not currently enrolled at Brown, apprehended at a local hotel last night. Providence Mayor Brett Smiley.
We have a generation of kids who have done active shooter trainings. That was not something I had to do when I was a kid. And we all, I think maybe intellectually, we knew it could happen anywhere, including here, but that's not the same as it happening in our community. And so this is an incredibly upsetting and emotional time for Providence, for Brown, for all of us.
In Australia, police in Sydney responding to a mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration at Bondi Beach. 11 dead, 29 hospitalized. State Premier Chris Minns.
This attack was designed to target Sydney's Jewish community on the first day of Hanukkah. What should have been a night of peace and joy celebrated in that community with families and supporters has been shattered by this horrifying evil attack.
One of the suspects is dead, the other in custody. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
In this moment of darkness, we must be each other's light. Hold on to the true character of the country that we love. Australia is stronger than the cowards who attacked innocent people today. Australia is braver than those who seek to make us afraid. Australia will never submit to division, violence, or hatred. We will see justice done, and we will come through this together.
But Albanese already under fire from some, in the Jewish community for failing to heed earlier warnings. That atmospheric river that sent floodwaters surging in Washington state. And here's what the National Weather Service is saying.
We have additional rainfall, another atmospheric river on the way. Bottom line, we are not done. We're not out of the woods with this particular event. We're halfway through.
100,000 had to be evacuated. Washington Governor Bob Ferguson.
We're here for them. We'll do everything in our power with all the partners we have to be there for them in the really challenging days that are ahead for them and for our state.
Damage to homes, businesses, and farms.
All right, Doug, do you see...
What's that?
Do you see the info in the chat?
Let's see. Okay.
In service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
They moved the chat on me.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line.
All right, you got it?
Got it.
Uh-oh.
It's
Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and
Hams for fams.
All right, gotcha.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
WWL First News. I'm Dave Cohen on your official weather station, WWL. The weather, it's changing and going to get much colder.
Expect a windy and chilly Sunday as our cold front moves in. We'll have decreasing clouds with temperatures falling throughout the day. We'll be in the 50s this afternoon, 40s tonight, and windy. Tomorrow morning will be bitter cold. Temperatures will be in the 30s on the South Shore and 20s on the North Shore.
WWL TV meteorologist Alexa Trischler. North of the lake, you're advised to protect your pipes, plants, people, and pets, with the temperatures dipping into the 20s. South of the lake, pipes should be okay, but you're still advised to protect people, plants, and pets, with this bitter cold blowing in. It'll warm up by the middle of the week. We'll get the details coming up in your full forecast. A wild end to one of the games in the Superdome for a state title.
With just 35 seconds left, St. Charles Catholic was an extra point away from tying the game at 21. Our very own Jeff Palermo had the call on the LHSAA network.
He missed it! Missed it wide left!
So all Archbishop Shaw had to do was kneel on the ball and run out the clock. But then
a Shaw player took off his helmet thinking that was the ball game.
Nope, can't do that.
Unsportsmanlike. Number 50 on the offense.
But there was something even more consequential than that 15-yard penalty.
St. Charles will be giving back their timeout.
That meant Shaw could no longer run out the clock, and after a shanked punt, St. Charles kicker Tyler Miliotto had a golden chance at redemption.
The heads to the uprights. It is good!
At the Superdome, I'm Andrew Greenstein.
This WWL Sports Update is brought to you by People's Health. Today, the Saints are back home for a Week 15 matchup against the 7-6 Carolina Panthers.
Hey, Doug, we got a caller as well.
So they'll have to be able to bottle.
We'll take it.
So yeah, I left his info in the chat as well.
Panthers 1-2 punch at running back and started with Nicaud, who still ranks top 10 in rushing yards this year.
The guy who's really changed their fortunes has been Nicaud. Really patient, but when he decides to go, and he punishes people. You know, the word that Dave Canales kept saying time and time again is violence. And he just runs with incredible violence. And he's got great balance and contact balance, and we can say all the buzzword terms, but the bottom line, he punishes people.
Schlereth also discussed what he's seen from Panthers veteran back Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba doesn't have the same explosiveness, but Chuba's really good at getting in there, being physical, and falling forward. Up until like 3 weeks ago, the longest run Chuba Hubbard has ever had in his career with over 800 carries was 38-yarder. He's not going to bust one on you. Nicaud can certainly bust a 60-yarder on you. So that's been the difference, but it's a great 1-2 punch.
Schlereth explained that Carolina's entire identity is based on being physical and running the football. He said the key in this matchup is for the Saints defense to slow down those two running backs and force Carolina QB Bryce Young to beat them. Kickoff between the Saints and Panthers is today at 3:25 p.m. and the countdown to kickoff featuring Bobby Hebert and Steve Geller starts at 1 o'clock right here on the home of the Saints WWL. Hopping to basketball, tonight the Pelicans hit the road for a matchup against the Chicago Bulls. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. on the Big 870 WWL. Charlie Long, WWL Sports.
Our cold front is here today. It's going to be very chilly and windy all day with decreasing clouds. Temperatures will be in the 50s this afternoon, 40s tonight, but feeling colder because of the strong winds. Monday is going to be bitter cold and frigid. Monday morning, temperatures will be in the low 30s on the South Shore and low 20s on the North Shore, so make sure you bundle up and keep warm. It's going to be really cold all day Monday. Temperatures in the afternoon Monday only in the 40s, but we'll have sunshine. We'll stay chilly through Tuesday, but expect a warm up the rest of the week starting Wednesday. From WWL Louisiana, I'm meteorologist Alexa Trischler.
And I'm Dave Cohen, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's all things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Seamson Law Firm and the Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Hart Jewelers talk and text line 504-260-1870 or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, live from our Gulf Coast Bank and Trust Company studios, the bank that cares about you, here's Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back for hour number 2. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, all things legal. I had a caller, just wanted to give a quick announcement for a food drive. It's Hams for Fam, HAMS for Fam. It is conducted by the Catholic schools in the Greater New Orleans area, where they get hams and sides for underprivileged families in New Orleans. For people who want to donate, they can go to Hams for Fams, HAMSFORFAMS.org. So it's hamsforfams.org. And if you want to donate, we all take for, I know I take for granted that I've got a wonderful family, wonderful friends, and Christmas is very, very great time for us. But a lot of things that we enjoy during Christmas is our blessings and gifts, and we just take it for granted because it just is the way it is, with some of the things that we've been blessed with. So not everybody's been blessed, and so this is an opportunity to help people. hamsforfams.org if you want to donate. There you go. Second thing, Albert, I was listening to the break, and I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but the Shaw St. Charles Catholic game, where the poor kid threw his helmet off at the end of the game in the air, thinking that he won the game, and they got a penalty, and he's going to learn a very hard life lesson. And I feel for the kid, because when we're 17, we've all been knuckleheads. But I think the lesson from this is when you win with dignity, you win with class, and ultimately, what you want to do is when you win, as a coach, the first thing I would want to do is console the other side and congratulate them, and then celebrate. And that's the kind of character, class I would want kids to have in those situations. And I mean, or have that on their brain. And I think watching TV and maybe some of the
Yeah, well, it's too much. These kids just have bad role models where that's concerned. It's always, trash talk, and it goes back a long way. I mean, just Larry Bird and guys that just you make a shot. I mean, I remember Kobe would make a three on somebody, turn around and look at the bench, for the other team as he was running back and just putting it in their face. And
I know. I'm old school.
I know, and that's been going on for a long, long
I know,
time.
and
and it's a shame, but that's what these kids see.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
That's what they tend to emulate, right?
I'm old school. I'm like the Earl Campbell. Act like you've been there in a touchdown, in the end zone before. Act like you've been there.
Right.
But I just want
again, what the coaches have to do is teach these kids the rules. Right, the game's not over till the clock is out.
That's right. You play 60 minutes. You play 60 minutes.
I want to say it might have been a semifinal game. I don't know if it's semifinals or a championship high school game, and I think it was a Rummel punter. All he had like 3 seconds left in the game, and they were winning by 3, 4, 5 points, whatever it was. And the coach told him, "Look, just catch the ball on the snap and just run around back there for 4 or 5 seconds, and the clock will run out." Right? So he catches the ball. He's running around, kind of running backwards. He hears the horn go off to end the game. He throws the ball up in the air, all excited. It bounces on the ground. The other team picks it up, runs it for a touchdown, and wins the game.
Yeah.
And, nobody told this punter, who probably plays 4 plays a game, right, that the game ain't over until the play is over. You just because the horn goes off doesn't mean it stopped play like basketball. You keep playing until the play's over. And so he lost the game because, again, he got all excited, threw the ball up in the air thinking, oh, we won the game.
Yeah. It's just going to be a hard life lesson. He's going to remember the rest of your life. But I think the life lesson ultimately is to have great humility after you accomplish something wonderful. Because if you do, and I think that's the downfall of a lot of people who do have success. Everybody, and I'm not immune from it. So I'm not saying is to have great humility and have great gratitude. In fact, when I watched the Heisman Trophy candidate Mendoza last night give his speech, it was the most wonderful speech I've ever heard by an athlete. And basically, what he did was he said that.
Yeah, I got to listen to it. I heard good things.
Phenomenal. What he said is, my success is the result of the people around me, the teams, the coaches, the parents, the families, brothers, and brother, and that I'm just the result of a lot of other people pouring into me. And so, what his whole speech is about giving gratitude to the people who put him in that position, and it wasn't really about him. And he, so that's that's who the kids should be watching. I mean, that's what you want. And actually, watching him made me an instant Indiana fan. I'm sort of pulling for him through the CFP now because he's such a great kid.
Right.
But it's just an interesting contrast, and I feel bad for the kid. And he's probably sick to his stomach. And if this situation could make him a better person throughout his life and teach him something, that will be helpful for him later, well, then it's probably, it's worth it. But I just wanted to mention that, I think it's just, when you do win like that, I know those, you want to excite, you want to celebrate, but you also want to have great humility, and you want to have great, compassion for the other team who had lost, and their pain in losing, and you would avoid those situations. All right.
Right.
Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to our number one caller, Monroe in Gentility. He's got a question regarding his home insurance policy. Hey, Monroe, Merry Christmas.
Good morning. Merry Christmas. And I'm never number one in anything, so I really.
No, you're number one. There you go.
I'm number one in y'all.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
I'm just calling, and I know you all have gone over this a million times, but I like to, I guess, get it reiterated sometimes just for the listeners and myself as well. So, can you explain quickly when you have an insurance claim, a home insurance claim, like a flood, fire, whatever the case may be, and the insurance pays or whatever, or pays a portion or whatever. My question is, how long do you have to recover, I guess what's called the recoverable depreciation? And how do you know if you're eligible?
It's a great question. Albert, you take it.
All
Great
right,
question.
so two things. First of all, you have to have replacement cost coverage, coverage on your policy. Pardon me. You can't have actual cash value. So you would look on your declarations page, which is one of the first pages of your policy, and it shows you what your coverages are. You know, your liability limits, your property limits, you know, and it goes through those. But you want to make sure you have replacement cost coverage and not just actual cash value coverage. The second thing is most ISO, insurance services organization, most policies, believe it or not, give you only 6 months to replace your property, and then the recoverable depreciation would kick in. Okay, so now in a storm situation, I've not seen, you know, we've got cases that we had one that was supposed to go to trial early December, and you know the client finally got all the documentation for the property coverage, you know, the movable property coverage, and the replacement. So they ended up filing a claim, and they finally paid it, like, you know, what, 4 years later, 4.5 years later, they paid his recoverable depreciation. So it wasn't like, oh, sorry, you didn't get it done in 6 months. And I've not seen an insurance company really enforce that. Certainly not in a hurricane or storm related, catastrophe related situation. The sad part is it's just, you know, so the whole recoverable depreciation concept is, we're going to, you know, the theory is we're going to continue to insure your property, right? And it's probably more for the structure really than the contents, but the contents, it applies as well. But we're going to continue to insure your structure, and if we're going to pay you for a roof, we're only going to pay you the actual cash value, the depreciated value, because we want you to replace the roof, and we don't want you to just, you know, put a few shingles up there and patch it, because we want that risk to be secured. And so if we're going to pay you for a new roof, we're not going to pay you for the whole thing until you get the new roof replaced. Now, a lot of times you can contact the adjuster and say, hey, look, would you pay this roofer directly, because I can't sign a contract for a $20,000 roof when you only gave me 12, and I don't have $8,000. So I can't get a new roof put on. I've got to use now money for, you know, the siding that I've got to replace to pay this roofer. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll write a two-party check to where they'll write it to you and the roofer, and you just endorse it to the roofer when the work's complete. So you can work things out like that. They know that they're eventually going to have to pay it. They want to get it done for you. You know, for the most part, they will work with you on that. You know, one of the problems you have with recoverable depreciation is quite often your contents is depreciated very heavily. And so, you know, let's say you had a pipe leak in your attic and water got all over your living room furniture and your rugs and all that sort of stuff. Well, you know, how old is it? Well, first of all, who knows, right? I could have bought it this year. I could have bought it 10 years ago. I don't remember. Could be 5 years old. And that's one of the issues. They make you kind of pinpoint you so they can calculate the depreciation. But then, you know, it gets depreciated so heavily. I think, you know, you got to look at it in terms of how much would this sell for at an estate sale, or if you put it on Facebook Marketplace or something, right? So you might have something you paid $1,000 for, but you're only going to get $150 for now, right? In its current state. So they're going to depreciate it pretty good, and then it's a lot harder in those situations for your contents to make you whole, because you got to go back and buy stuff. The problem too is You go back and buy it. Well, yeah, I got a receipt. I paid, $100 for it. Well, now it's, that was 6 years ago. Now it's $300. So there's a lot of give and take when it comes to that. I know that was a $200 answer for a $10 question, but hope that explains.
So basically, you just call the adjuster and kind of show them receipts of stuff that you just purchased, and perhaps
if you got that
receipts.
Yes. Now the other option is if you've got photographs, right, of your damaged, let's say it's property, your interior movable property, they call it, or your contents. If you have photographs of that, one of the best things you can do, and I know it takes some time, but it beats hiring a lawyer. Make a list, and with that list, find it on the internet. Find whatever it was on the internet and copy that link. And so when you write your list, you make another column to the right of it with that link, where all they got to do is click on it. They can see the same picture or a very similar picture of the product, and they'll have a cost for it.
Yeah.
And so that way, that's satisfactory proof of loss in anybody's book, right? And you provide that to them. Now the clock's ticking for them to pay you for your content at that value.
Okay, and you say the deadline is 6 months or a year?
Well, it's typically 6 months, but they definitely work with you depending on the loss and how severe the loss is. If it's something minor, you're probably not going to file a homeowner's claim anyway. But if it's just your typical, if you can get, let's say, the roof, the water pipe leak example, where depending on how hard it is to get your ceiling replaced and the paint done and this and that, look, they're not going to expect you to replace all your contents until you have all the work done, right? And so I've not seen where they've really, really tried to enforce that provision of the policy.
So, yeah.
I got it. Okay.
Well, all right, Monroe.
Appreciate you, and happy holidays.
Merry Christmas to you, Monroe.
Thanks for calling.
Good hearing from you. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said. Or
Saints fans, get ready for Drew and Bobby. Bobby and Drew. QB to QB. Wednesdays on WWL. Check in with Bobby Hebert and Drew Brees. 4:30 every Wednesday as they break down the last Saints game and preview the next matchup. Don't miss QB to QB, the ultimate Saints conversation with the first quarterback to take the black and gold to the playoffs and the NFL legend who led the Saints to a Super Bowl win. Drew Brees and Bobby Hebert. Wednesdays at 4:30 on WWL.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-941-2255. That's 800-941-2255.
The IRS is more aggressive than ever, and your tax problems won't disappear on their own. They're holding your life hostage, wrecking your credit, your peace of mind, and your future. Hi, I'm Danielle with Go Tax Resolution. We specialize in resolving delinquent tax issues and will help protect your bank account, your wages, and your assets. Don't wait another day. Don't bury your head in the sand. Regain your life. Call us at 985-722-1040 or visit us at gotaxresolution.com. That's GEAUX taxresolution.com.
The IRS is ramping up collections, and that means more wage garnishments, bank levies, and aggressive action. Hi, I'm Caitlin with Go Tax Resolution. If you owe back taxes, the time to act is now. Don't face the IRS alone. At Go Tax Resolution, we know how to protect your assets and your peace of mind. Call Go Tax Resolution at 985-722-1040. or visit gotaxresolution.com. That's GEAUX taxresolution.com.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Fontes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Poydras Home offers retirement living in the heart of Uptown. Nursing and memory care assisted living, including respite, with our last new construction home available for move-in now. Visit PoidrasHome.com.
Here's some things you probably don't know about Dudley DeBosier. My favorite way to relax is sitting down with a good book.
Me? I have 4 kids. I haven't relaxed in 20 years.
But despite our differences, there's one important thing we have in common.
We're lawyers who love helping people.
Chad Dudley Lawyers, LA 2417010. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Back to all things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Stream WWL and the shows you love on Odyssey, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn apps. Or join us on the Oakland Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. I wanted to follow up with on Monroe, you and your conversation regarding contents. A lot of times we've just gone between the both of us probably through 1,000 IDA claims and mediations, and a lot of on the back end when you hit a contents issue, that was sort of a highly negotiated issue. But you know, would I often tell the clients, I said, we can't really help you that much with the contents. What you really have to do is get a photograph description and, go on Etsy or go on Amazon or go on one of these websites and get a comparable price and for each item, which might be hundreds of items. And I said, there's no getting around. This might take 50, 100, 150 labor hours to do this. And a lot of people are like, it's too much work. I'm just cut a deal for us. But, I'll give you an anecdote. They had someone who was willing to do that. And we had like a indexed tabbed binder that was 4 inches thick with Excel spreadsheets, every item, where it was, a picture of it. And it at least took them 2 weeks to do this. It was just incredible. But when the insurance company saw the binder, they're like, okay, we'll pay it.
Yeah.
Because they knew.
Yeah, because let me say, at the end of the day, especially during a storm situation, they're busy too.
Yeah. So
they don't want that adjuster having to sit down and go through every $20 and $50 and $200 item. So they'll throw their hands up and say, okay, we'll pay it.
We'll pay it. Right. So it's just
unless maybe they'll go look at the big ticket items.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 or 15 of them just to make sure you're on the right track. But yeah, so you want to outwork them, you'll get paid, right?
Get paid. That's exactly
right. Like I said, there's really not a whole lot we can do. We don't know what your contents was. We don't know the condition. We don't know any of that. So that's really something that's going to be left on the insured's shoulders, essentially, to get done.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about what we were talking about before at the end of last hour is, as far as what are you looking for in selecting an attorney? Someone you can communicate with, someone who speaks your language, who can, when they talk to you, can understand what they're saying, but also we talked about getting from point A to point B, and a lot in estate claims. And we are human, and we do have to blow off some steam. But like in an estate claim, if you're having a dispute with your brother over, or your sister, your spouse, not your spouse, your sibling, over the allocation of an estate, and you spend a lot of the conference time with the attorney talking about how you feel about when they pushed you off the swing set when you were 6 years old and you really hadn't gotten over it. And so what I'm constantly saying, I said, look, I'm sorry this happened to you, but how is this going to get us from point A to point B? And I think you had brought up a good point that when you do have those raw emotions, you can't, you can take advantage of, or people are vulnerable to being taken advantage of, and that you don't want, as an attorney, want to unnecessarily heighten those raw emotions that don't accomplish anything except wanting to make the other, their sibling miserable throughout the litigation. So
and run up the bill.
And that's ultimately what it is, because you see, I think one of the things you want to have a good attorney on the other side, because it's going to be more inexpensive for everyone. There's certain procedural issues. If you can walk through that open door rather than try and knock down a wall, it'll be cheaper for everyone. And a lot of times when you have that obstinate attorney on the other side who is not cooperative, and if you say it's day, they're going to say it's night. If you're going to say it's good, they're going to say it's bad. What you end up doing is spending a lot of times dealing with items that should be stipulated to, or that are not contested, and you're not getting to the heart of the problem, and you're spending a lot more money. And so you're just going through an open door, rather than going through the open door that's mutually beneficial.
Right. Well, and I think unfortunately, when we try to do that and explain to them that, hey, you're really arguing over nothing, or arguing over something that's going to give you very little return on your
investment,
just on your attorney's fee bills, on your costs, on your time, on your emotion, on everything else, when, like you said, the bigger issues over here, and let's work to kind of make sure that you get the best you can get out of that, and not worry about some of these little peripheral issues. And unfortunately, some clients I've experienced, when you try to direct them to the true issues, and not like what we used to call in law school the red herrings, right? When you try to direct them to that, they look at you as, oh, you're not looking out for my best interest, or you're not being aggressive enough. And at the end of the day, look, I can be aggressive. I can go after them for every little penny of that. And if we have to go try this case, yeah, we're going to include that, right? But we're not going to spend all of our time, effort, money, and just emotional expense for you to go after something that is not going to be a cost-effective return, or is not going to be worth it in the long run in terms of everything that has been expended for that issue. The one thing I wanted to talk about, and I mentioned this before the break, is the billables, right? Billable hours and billable time. So I had a friend come to me, and it's the type of work I didn't do. And so, hey, what do you think about this? Well, the lawyer wanted to bill, the lawyer's billing practice was a 0.25. Okay. So their minimum billing time increment is is a 0.25, which means 15 minutes. So if they're sitting at their desk and the other attorney sends them a one paragraph email that took them 30 seconds to read, they put down on their timesheet 0.25. So just for the sake of argument, let's say they're charging you $300 an hour. You just got charged $75 to read that one email and perhaps, a 2-minute response to it. And so their minimal billing, is in those increments. So what you should negotiate for and see if you can get your attorney to agree to is a much more standard 0.1, which is every 6 minutes, right? So it's a minimum of a 6-minute charge for, going through mail or doing whatever. And so make sure that you're on a 0.1 or a 10 per hour, 10 increments per hour, and that way it's a 0.6 and not a 0.75, and it makes a huge difference when the attorney is spending a decent amount of time in a particular month on your work and your billing. The billing gets somewhat out of hand. And have a conversation with your attorney. They're gonna probably present you with maybe a 2 or 3 page fee agreement, and kind of set the expectations for you in writing as to what you should expect. So if I'm on if you call me and talk to me for 10 minutes, okay, so billing a 0.1 per incident, I'm going to bill you a 0.2, right? Because it's over 6 minutes and you're into the next 6 minutes. And so you get a 0.2 times whatever the hourly rate is. If I'm billing at a 0.25 as my minimum, then, you're going to be spending 1/4 of an hour's value for that 10-minute conversation, and again, if you go to 16 minutes, now you're spending a half hour. So you see if you can negotiate that type of billing format, 0.10. And again, the lawyer's time, that's one thing. On the other side of the coin, hey, I just needed a little advice. Well, you know what? That's what I sell, right? That is my stock and trade. And so people will call you and say, oh, I just need you to advise me on this. You didn't have to go look anything up. You didn't have to do this. I said, no, but I've been doing this for 30 something years, and that information is very valuable to you. And so it's worthy of being being compensated.
Right. You're renting time. And I think one of the things that, some practical things you can do, I've had lawyers for situations, and if instead of calling the lawyer 5 times over 5 separate issues, sort of just have all your questions ready all at once.
Correct.
And sort of knock it out there. Also, too.
Or put it in an email. Put it all in an email, bullet point it, and that way the lawyer can respond to each bullet point in one little segment, and it avoids all these different pieces of communication back and forth.
Right, and so it's just being judicious with time, and just understanding what's necessary for the lawyer to know what's not. There, I always say I can be your therapist, but I don't think you want to pay me to be your therapist. Let your therapist be your therapist. Let's stay on the legal issues, and plus it's beyond my pay grade anyway. Even though we have to do it to a certain extent. So let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you Weekend Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
It's the happiest season of all. There'll be parties for.
It's WWL, the big 870 AM, 105.3 FM, and WWL.com. Live from our Gulf Coast Bank and Trust Company studios, the bank that cares about you. Listen to our time-shifted podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
NFL Sunday's coming. You've got your crew, your couch, your snacks, your slate, and FanDuel is coming in with something extra. This isn't just another NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your go-to player prop, and now we're making it even better because this week FanDuel's bringing the bonus. That's right. Right now, all customers get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. However you play the game, FanDuel's got your back with something extra in your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com/Hebert, that's Hebert, to download the app and get on the action before kickoff. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of WWL Radio.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. Permitted parishes only. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-7867.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-906-1788. 800-906-1788. 800-906-1788.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Genesis of New Orleans invites you to experience the Genesis Signature Event. Make this holiday one to remember in a new refined Genesis. Celebrate the season with Signature Event savings plus 3 years, 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance on a large selection of new Genesis sedans and SUVs. And your luxury experience doesn't stop with a sale. Enjoy complimentary pickup and delivery for service. Stop by and say hi at Genesis of New Orleans, Power Boulevard at the corner of Veterans. Luxury evolved.
Insurance companies have teams of professionals to fight your claim. If you want to know what your case is really worth, I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 475-2323.
LA 167908.
Poydras Home offers retirement living in the heart of Uptown. Nursing and memory care assisted living, including respite, with our last new construction home available for move-in now. Visit PoydrasHome.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell.
It's all things legal on WWL and streaming live on the Odyssey, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio apps. To consult with Doug Sunseri or Albert Nicaud, call their office at 504-837-1304 or connect now on the Oakland Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Started talking a little general topic today about, your interaction with your own lawyer. And I think what I found out after Albert and I came out of law school the same year after almost doing this for 40 years is that what a good lawyer does is they identify what leverage, as far as negotiation is concerned, what's your leverage and how to use it appropriately, not to and to know when to hold them and when when to fold them. And if you misidentify your leverage and you use it more than you actually have, and you use it inappropriately, sometimes you walk away with nothing. Or on the other hand, if you're a little too timid and you don't use it all, you leave money on the table. So that's sort of what you need. Now, the other thing you'd have to appreciate what a good attorney will do is sometimes your clients are tied to the railroad tracks and the train is coming and you're trying to warn them, let me pull you off these tracks before you get run over. And
exactly.
So, it's just having that kind of relationship where you can communicate these type of things. And it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times what we have to do is we have to wear two hats. On one hat, we have to be the little Roman warrior that throws the spears at the other side, keeps fighting. On the other hand, we have to advise as to your client's vulnerabilities and where they could be run over by the train or where they could lose.
Right.
And a lot of times clients could mistake that. Less sophisticated clients could mistake that, saying, you're not looking out for my interest or you're not fighting hard enough. No.
Exactly.
I am advocating for you, but I also have a duty to disclose your vulnerabilities so that you could have good information to make the right decision on what's the next, what's to do next, whether to move, press forward or cut a deal.
Well, and we do that a lot, especially in the construction situation. If we are representing a homeowner, let's say, against the contractor, no, I want to keep going. That's not enough money. I want to keep going. And sometimes we'll look at them and say, look, this will make you pretty close to whole, right? You're going to get just about everything you're asking for, and if you continue on, it's going to be maybe another year before we get to some sort of trial or arbitration. And then if somebody, wants to appeal it, then they'll have that opportunity and bring things down the road. And there's a value to closure, right? Hey, do you want to just take this money now, go get your house finished and get in and be done with this nightmare? Or, do you want to, draw the line in the sand and say, hey, look, I want to go for blood. I want to get every penny. And sometimes getting every penny will cost you more than the pennies you're going to get in terms of your time, in terms of attorney's fees, in terms of costs and expert fees and all that sort of thing. At some point, and that gets back to the whole mantra of mediation, right? A great mediation result is when everybody walks away a little bit disappointed. You don't want to be devastated, right? But if you walk away, the whole point is, hey, let's get this over with. Let's resolve our differences. Let's move on with our lives and get this litigation out of our mind at this point. And we can, we're a little disappointed. We didn't get that. And the other side kind of got this, but at the end of the day, it's best for all to kind of cut our losses at this point, or maybe not get everything and at least have some closure and not have this litigation in the forefront of your brain.
And I think you have to get in the mindset, once you're in litigation, you'll never be made whole. You're never made whole. I mean, in any situation.
Yeah, very, yeah. I mean, if you go try the case, who knows, right? If you have an attorney's fee provision, if there are no attorney's fee provisions, every time you call me or talk to me or I have to go to a hearing, you're losing money.
Yeah, so.
And so at some point, if there's no attorney's fee provision in a contract, or if there is no attorney's fee provision by statute, or there's no real fraud or something like that you can maybe get attorney's fees on, then you're not getting your attorney's fees back.
Yeah,
so if the more you keep directing me to grind it out and get to this result, the less money you're going to get in the long run. And so the other side knows that too, right? So that's why they might be willing to put up a few more dollars.
Right. So.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to our final break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, you Weekend Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
Get the WWL shows you love.
All right, Doug, do you see our final caller here?
E. Tucker, Newell North.
Damien in New Orleans.
What does he want to talk about?
Or tell your smart speaker.
He wants to talk about a past felony complicating his will situation.
By Dudley DeBosier, official injury lawyers of the New Orleans Saints. Call 444-4444.
That's 444-4444.
Oh, did we miss Frank?
Spokesperson Chad Dudley.
Yes, we did. He dropped.
Okay.
Simple. To make better hearing affordable for
everyone.
This Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use.
Yeah, I know we're coming into the final segment, so I don't know how much.
I don't know how a felony. Okay.
Reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan.
Yeah, we'll have about 5-ish minutes.
Okay.
Come back, maybe about 4.
Okay.
Expected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ETHOS.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Fontes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Hey Saints fans, Crown Royal is the official whiskey of the New Orleans Saints. And this season, it's not game day without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. Whether you're at the tailgate, in the stands, or watching from home, Crown Royal is the reason and the reward for coming together. Grab a glass with the Crown Royal rig at a stadium near you, because we'll be sharing the generous spirit with fans across the country. Crown Royal, fueling game day with the generous spirit. Visit www.crownroyal.com/royal rig for more on the Crown Royal Rig Tour. Please drink responsibly.
When's the last time you cleaned your air conditioning system and air ducts? If you're like most people, never. If you could see what's probably in there, layers of dust, mold, dead bugs, even rodent droppings, you'd be disgusted. Breathing that in every day, even while you eat and sleep, can make you feel tired and run down while blaming it on allergies. Gulf State Services Group can clean your entire system, usually in one day, letting you feel better, breathe cleaner, and live healthier. Visit GulfStateServicesLLC.com and schedule a free system consultation. GulfStateServicesLLC.com.
Poydras Home offers retirement living in the heart of Uptown. Nursing and memory care assisted living, including respite, with our last new construction home available for move-in now. Visit PoydrasHome.com.
Slide through small sliders for the best sliders, fries, and queso. Go big, eat smalls.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
At Audien Hearing, our mission is simple. To make better hearing affordable for everyone, this Christmas holiday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Christmas holiday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Back to attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri on WWL. Stream all things legal and our time-shifted podcasts on Odyssey, TuneIn, and now on the iHeartRadio app. Or connect now on the Oakland Hart Jewelers talk and text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Let's go to the phone line. Let's go to Damien. Got a question regarding his legacy in the will. Hey, Damien, what you have for us? Got to be quick. Only got a couple of minutes.
All right, I'm going to get to it. So, right quick, the household was me, my grandmother, and my father. It's a double. We lived together in a household. My grandmother passed. My dad was the original executor of the will. We made a codicil. My dad passed of cancer before my grandmother died. She was 99. So she passes. Before she passes and makes a codicil, named me executor of the will. Mm-hmm. All right, so my sneaky uncle slips through the back door. I have a felony conviction from 25 years ago. He found the technicality where they say it's law that I'm disqualified because of that. My attorney, we had a hearing. The judge didn't immediately disqualify. She wanted a brief, and we're pretty much raising issues of the constitutionality of my grandmother's wishes. That's her wishes. I'm going to sit back and see what you think.
Well, the code does say that you can be disqualified for a felony conviction from being an executor, but I do think that the judge would have some discretion on that, given the time period. So I think it's going to be the judge's call, and I think the judge has the ability to go either way.
And again, just from an evidentiary standpoint, evidence of a criminal conviction cannot be introduced into evidence at a trial, at least for if it's more than 10 years old.
Yes. So they got.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes. So you might be able to argue that, and I don't know if that necessarily applies to this situation, but it's
now. What if the felony conviction? I'm still on parole. I'm on parole to 2042.
Well, I think
that could factor into it, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably the judge has wiggle room to go either way, and probably and do it.
That's what he was trying to tell me, that in the judges, the law states it's a shall and not a may, or that type of issue.
Yeah, well,
it gives her discretion.
I think if she wants to, if she sees it's in the best interest in the estate, and I think if she sees she wants to keep your grandmother's wishes, and I think if she sees that you have, since you've been, released, that you've, lived, stayed out of trouble and lived responsibly. I think that would factor all into it.
And yes.
And so she may require you to post the bond. She may do something if she keeps you to assure service. But we wish you good luck, and I think it'll be up to the judge. Albert, any predictions for the Saints game before we go?
I like the Saints in this one at home. We'll see.
Yeah.
Real quick.
15 seconds.
15 seconds.
We got a text from a lawyer friend. He said that this information about lawyer-client discussion is right on point, even from a criminal law standpoint. So it seems like we hit the nail on the head. So,
Merry Christmas. We'll see you January 11th for our New Year.
870 AM WWL New Orleans.
Andrew,
105.3 WWL FM and HD.
Thank you, guys.
Have a Merry Christmas, and
the following program was previously recorded.